Hi, this is Alicia, and welcome back to the Eat Me podcast. Y'all, it feels like everything is happening all at once. It's just like constant overwhelm. And for many of us, trying to eat healthy is something that is overwhelming within itself, right? But then to find out certain things that you're supposed to be consuming, right, in air quotes here, are possibly a risk given, how they're produced and manufactured. And if you have not been paying attention, there was a big outbreak of Cyclospora among products made by a company named Taylor Farms. And so Taylor Farms, they provide, different produce and things of that nature to, various companies like Target, Whole Foods, I think like Amazon Fresh. And so it's kind of, unnerving, particularly when you think about buying things that are organic, right? Or something that you're purchasing from a place like Whole Foods. You're like, okay, it's Whole Foods. Like it has to be great, right? But then you find out that it's a possibility that you could run the risk of getting sick from the produce because of the way it's being actually produced. I found an article because y'all know how I am. I love my articles. I love reading about different things like this. Actually, this is USA Today. And a lot of times I don't really refer to US based articles, but I thought, you know what, for this, we will definitely take a deep dive into it and just learn more about what USA Today has said about the actual Cyclospora outbreak among the produce that we have here in the United States. So the article is called Are Locally Grown Fruits and Vegetables Safe from Cyclospora? Experts Explain. This is written by Melina Khan, and I will share this article in the show notes so you can, refer to it later on. So there's like a whole overview of the actual article, but it starts out and it says experts say that produce from farmers markets may be safer from the current Cyclosporus outbreak because it is locally grown, but no produce is risk-free and thorough washing may not remove the parasite. And that was one thing that I thought was interesting because I know for many of us, myself included, my thing was, okay, I'm doing my due diligence by washing my produce. I have produce like different like cleansers. Growing up, I know that was it vinegar, adding vinegar to some a little bit of water helps clean produce as well. But with this particular issue, this outbreak, it doesn't matter if you are cleaning it properly, you could still run the risk of getting sick from the produce. So the article starts off and says, while a nationwide surge in cyclosporus cases has many concerned about eating certain produce, experts say locally grown fruits and vegetables like those sold at farmers markets may be a safer option. Cyclosporisis, which is caused by a microscopic parasite, Cyclospora this is cotineus, and I could be completely butchering that name, so excuse me. Like I said, this will be in the show notes for y'all to see. Is usually spread through contaminated foods such as produce items or water, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The agency has confirmed more than 1,600 cases nationwide as of July 13th, and it is working to verify more than 5,000 additional infections. State officials have tailored higher totals so far. In Michigan alone, officials are tracking more than 3,700 infections as of July 15th, according to the State Health Human Services Department. The CDC said on July 14th that cases in Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia, and Kentucky are likely linked. While they have not yet determined what's causing the surge, officials in Michigan have indicated that they are looking into whether lettuce is the source of the state's outbreak. As the illnesses continue to spread, here's what to know about safe practices around fruits and vegetables, especially when it comes to where they are bought. And it goes on to say, is farmers market produce safe from cyclosporus risk? And so, as I mentioned earlier, they said, it could be, but we'll continue to read on. While not a total guarantee, experts told USA Today that produce from farmers markets could be a safer option because they are likely sourced from local growers. However, no produce is risk-free, especially since officials have not yet determined the exact source of this outbreak. Experts said if the illness is spreading from produce, the food could be getting tainted by a contaminated water source at the growing site, and locally grown produce may less likely be impacted by cyclospora. It is where it's grown, not the point of sale, said Amesh Alja, a senior scholar at the Center for Health Security at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. Past cyclosporosis outbreaks in the United States have stemmed from produce coming from other countries, which may be in part because other countries could be using contaminated irrigation sources, says Dana Mordu, an associate professor of pathology, microbiology, and immunology at New York Medical College. A lot of times, this has come in from overseas. In some places, the produce may be more lax than what we think we have in the United States, Mordu said. In this case, though, given the size of the outbreak, it's making me at least wonder whether or not something is happening within the United States. In the United States, shifting weather patterns like more heavy rainstorms can cause agricultural runoff and sewage overflows, tainting irrigation water used for fresh produce, said Joe Ellen Russell, a climate and integrative science professor at the University of Arizona. What about backyard gardens? And this is something that I was even worried about as well. As for those with their own backyard gardens, experts say that they are likely safe depending on the irrigation source. It has to do with the water that you're using to irrigate, says Aldaja said. I'm sorry, y'all. Manipulable water sources in the United States are typically not contaminated with human feces, making it unlikely that the issue is stemming from a water source here, Aldaja and Mordu said. Typically, in your own garden, you know what kind of fertilizer you're using, Mordu added. Will washing your produce help? Yes or no? The CDC recommends washing fruits and vegetables thoroughly under running water to reduce the risk of foodborne illnesses. But some experts say that's not enough when it comes to cyclosporosis. Washing does not get rid of the sticky, little invisible parasites, so that's the problem. Dr. Rabia De La Tour, a gastroenterologist at NYU Langone, told USA Today. Mordu said rinsing is still a good thing, but it's not enough to prevent infection. It may get rid of some of the cyclospora, but it doesn't get rid of all of it. So there's still risk that remains, Mordu says. Cooking fruits and vegetables is the only foolproof way to kill the parasite, De La Tour said. Mordu said freezing also kills the parasite, so frozen fruits and vegetables are also safe. That is really interesting. And I'm actually really happy to know that because the majority of the fruit that we get, that we purchase, especially like the berries that we have, we freeze a lot of those because we get so much in bulk. And so it's, too much to consume at one point. We don't want for it to go bad. So I actually feel really good about that, knowing that. So just so y'all know, any frozen fruits and vegetables, safe. I mean, I still clean them after we get them out of the freezer, but that is refreshing to know. I don't know about y'all, but that really helps me a lot. Melina Khan is a national trending reporter for USA Today, and she keeps up on, they're just saying where she keeps up on Instagram and Twitter. But I wanted to mention this, and like I said, I'll share this little article in the show notes. But I wanted to talk a little bit about that today because I feel like a lot of people are just kind of like in a frenzy. It's like, where do we eat? What can we eat? How safe is it to eat this produce given what is happening right now? As I mentioned, Taylor Farms is a company that sells to Target, Whole Foods, Walmart, and Amazon Fresh based off of their actual website. So you might be wondering what products. So here at Target, it says Taylor Farms mini chopped salad mix. So all of the ones that say Taylor Farms, obviously, right? Like those are the items. But there could be a point where it doesn't say Taylor Farms. And that's where I was wondering if some of the products may say something else besides Taylor Farms. So let me go back. Let's go to like the Whole Foods one. I just want to look and see. Oh, this still says Taylor Farms. But what I was looking at and what I saw beyond the Taylor Farms label, there were different folks on social media saying there were other products that were made by Taylor Farms that don't have the Taylor Farms label. And so I'm looking here on their site to see if they have anything that shows beyond Taylor Farms. And right now, what I'm seeing is only Taylor Farms logos on the packaging. I don't know if there is something beyond the Taylor Farms, but that has been something that I've seen a lot on social media. I don't know if y'all have seen that as well, but a lot of people are saying, hey, be on the lookout for other items that may not say Taylor Farms, but could be Taylor Farms based products. So I would just encourage y'all, if anything, to definitely look and investigate things beyond what we see in the grocery stores. If you're like, you know what, forget this whole me buying packaged produce in the stores, I'm looking for my local farmers. Farmers markets are a great place to go, as the article mentioned as well. There are several farmers markets here in the city and different what they call food co-ops as well. If you're looking to, buy local, definitely look around in your different states or cities, towns for those actual places to purchase beyond the grocery store. It is a really wild time we're living in. And I feel like in many ways, we're all just grasping at straws and hoping for the best in many ways. What I'll do is I will share in the show notes for New York City, like farmers market info. And I don't know, I don't know if it's just localized to like different boroughs, but however it presents in the show notes, especially if you're here in New York, take a look at those actual sites and visit those places, because even beyond this actual outbreak, it's nice to support local companies, right, and local businesses. So if anything, this will be something that will help the folks in your community, with their actual businesses. So I'll share that information in the notes as well. This is a quick podcast episode today because it was just basically just me wanting to let folks know, hey, do your best as it relates to what's going on in this world, even beyond the food stuff. We're dealing with so many things with, our government. That's a whole other conversation. But all that to say, do the best you can. Take time to take care of yourself. If you have to remove yourself from all the noise, definitely do that as well, because it's a lot of noise that's out here as well. But I want to just make sure that we're informed as possible and we're doing things to take care of one another. So, like I said, I will share that information in the show notes about farmers markets here in the city. And if I find something, I can't guarantee it'll be in the show notes, but if I find something that could be shared on a national scale where we can look at farmers markets on a national scale, I'll share that. I don't know that's the case, but if it is, I will definitely share that as well. Y'all, like I said, let's just continue to take care of ourselves, do the best we can to stay as safe as possible. If you are showing any signs and symptoms of illness that you might be thinking that's food related, definitely touch base with your healthcare provider. Don't just try to do things alone, especially if it's really, really a serious case of like, maybe like diarrhea, vomiting, or you're just not feeling well at all, where it's just not resolving itself in like 1 to 2 to 3 days. Definitely touch base with your healthcare provider, guys. All right, y'all. I love you. I hope you are having a great summer so far, despite all the things that are happening. And listen, I'll see y'all next week on this podcast. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Enemy Podcast. Love y'all, and I will see you soon. Bye.